Hello, everybody. Well, welcome. It's Coffee Can't Fix Everything. This is a show where we talk about mental health over a cup of coffee. Before I introduce my guest today, I want to give a shout out to Adriana and Desiree Slaughter, the homies. Hey, thank you guys for supporting with the coffee. Anybody, if you're listening, if you want to support the show, if you enjoy the show and you see the value, just hit the link, buy me a coffee, and I'll make sure I shout your name out on the next episode. So today, man, we've been trying to make this happen for a minute. So I'm glad we made it happen. Steven, man, thank you so much for chopping them up with me today, man. I appreciate it. Something that's been on my heart today that I feel like, I think it's on my heart because I'm kind of going through a little bit of it right now, is pressure, but two different types of pressure. Pressure of just the daily grind, trying to just make it to the next day with everything going on in the world, and still trying to apply pressure, right? So when you hear pressure, what does that mean to you? What goes through your mind? How are you dealing with pressure at this moment?
I'd say to your response as to how I'm dealing with pressure is balance. Balance is a good thing to have in mind when dealing with pressure, because pressure comes from unbalanced like feelings, emotions, thoughts. Like that has a lot to do with your reality. So like there's good pressure and there's bad pressure, but it's always good to have in mind balance when you think pressure, because that's what keeps you level in order to deal with the pressure.
How do you keep that balance? Are you keeping that balance right now? Because saying balance, it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? For a lot of people. So how are you keeping that balance for yourself right now?
Routine is very important. Like the first thing I get up and do is like arrange my day time wise, like what time frames I'm gonna get certain things done, setting kind of goals. It doesn't always have to be accurate, but just like a basis of your daily schedule, and routine is a good way to organize it. Like I always hit the gym unless my body isn't feeling up to it. I didn't go to the gym today. I'm pretty disappointed with myself.
I've been seeing you online in the camera flexing. I'm like, look at this guy.
Oh yeah. I used to be like, so when I lived in Hawaii, my friend Isaiah that I started the catering business with, like we worked out with this football team, and like man, that was probably the biggest I've ever been. I was like 245.
Out, man,
straight muscle, big swole. And like I went there and I was like 175. So I was like, with eating all the food and just like getting better the culture, working out with the football team, man, that was the biggest I've ever been. And I'm really trying to hit that weight again, so that's kind of part of the routine.
Okay.
Yeah, like and again back to the pressure, like pressure on myself, as in like applying pressure and being really consistent with myself, and not being hard, being graceful with myself, and allowing myself to rest and to have those days, but also regaining focus and getting back into my routine has helped with the pressure.
Yeah, man. I think I really like what you said. Something that I gotta get better at myself, be honest with you, bro, is keeping that organization. 'Cause I feel like when I am organized in my mind, at home in my space, where I'm at, then there may be life pressures, there may be things going on, but I don't really feel it. I'm able to control it a lot better. But when I'm not on when I'm not on it, and I don't, I think you can appreciate this. When you got a lot going on, you got your hands in different things, and you go into that day not knowing what's going to happen, so you're just doing things as they come, and you're kind of out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes the day feel more hectic, and you can almost. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. There are days where I kind of caved to the pressure in the sense of so much had happened at one time.
Right.
That I was like,
I'm tapping out today. No, I'm
done.
I've definitely been there. It's like those days I just try to be graceful with myself, like honestly, and just take it one step at a time. Sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed especially when you have a plate full and you know you have to follow through. Following through is like big. If you want to have a successful, like anything, I'd say business,
Man.
being a creative, you got to follow through. And you, more than following through for others, you have to follow through for yourself.
Yo.
And that's a part of the pressure. Again, like applying a certain amount of pressure to where you know you're not overloading yourself and your mind. It's easy to get overwhelmed.
100%. You just said about as a creative. I think that is the piece as a creative. A lot of creatives leave out. How do you remind yourself to keep it all together?
I'm only human. I'm only human. Like, I think a lot of people kind of detach from that, especially like being a creator. You kind of have to create like an alter ego, and it is your brand. But like, you can still have aspects of yourself in the brand, and you have to remember you're only one person. Like, it can feel heavy to relay what you're trying to relay creatively, but it's always good to have in mind, I'm only human, and there's only so much I can do. You can etch it out and do the things like you need to do in order to get there, but it's, again, about being graceful, patient. Like, these are a lot of things I learned, especially now. I've been creating for so long. I mean, you know, there will probably be friends that'll see this and be like, oh man, he's still doing that. Like, but you know, I never gave up. It's always been something I've been passionate about, and I've wanted this to succeed in this for so long that I'll do anything it takes. But I also have my way of how I'm gonna do it and how it's gonna all take off.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I'm reading this book right now called the Show Your Work, and in the book it kind of talks about, there's a chapter where it talks about showing your work and making sure that, you know, you're using your platforms as almost like personal journals. But there's, you know, as I'm reading it, and I'm like, you know, how can I apply this information so when I am showing pieces of my life or pieces of my creativity or my work, how can I be consistent with it? And that feeling of I need to maintain this brand, and the pressure of, okay, if I'm gonna set this goal of posting 3 things a day, you know, all that stuff they say about social media, right? Sticking to that structure, but also keeping yourself still creative and not just putting something out there. There's this balance of like, bruh, like what, like how do I do
How
this?
to navigate.
How do you navigate it? And right now I'm in this space where I am not allowing myself to cave to the pressure of when I put it up. Because I want to cater to my creativity more than the schedule. And taking that pressure off of me and being like, okay, I got to post at 9, 1, and 5, or whatever social media expert says the best time to post.
Right.
I'm going to post at 9:45, 11:01.
Realistically, yeah.
Like, I'm just going to post when it comes out. You know what I'm saying? And then my community will either rock with it or not, but I'm not going to cater to the algorithm.
The algorithm, yeah.
Because that's an added pressure in my life that I don't need.
I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this like algorithm phase when really you create your own algorithm.
Talk about it.
So really it goes based off your fan base. I mean, are you interacting with your fans? Really? Like, really, are you responding to them in the comments, or are you just going to act like a superstar like you're already it? Like, a lot of people, again, they get too wrapped up in the alter ego that they're forgetting I'm only human.
Yo. And what's so interesting about that is and I'm not even gonna act like I wasn't even like that either, as far as not feeling like I was Hollywood, but I would post something, I would see somebody comment, and I would just heart it or like it or whatever. But you end up killing, because of that pressure of having to do it, you end up killing a side of you, the human side of you, because you're trying to be this other person.
Exactly.
And I think that pressure is doing that. I'm talking more right now to people who are creatives, who are trying to build something outside of their, their 9 to 5. The idea of what you want to be and that pressure of what you want to be is killing the human in you, and it's making you less like what you see yourself.
It's called expectation.
That expectation is beating the brakes off.
And all that really ties back into the balance.
Yeah.
Like I'm a Gemini, so if I'm too imbalanced, then my day's gonna be shitty. But if if I'm too happy, I'm gonna be disappointed because things didn't turn out like how I expected. You have to be, again, like centered with yourself, and it comes to for so many aspects, especially like for me, I have to be in a Zen mode to create. I have to be in a peaceful environment. I don't put myself around chaotic people. Like, I work in the scene, like bar scene, so that's just a given. But, I still control it. I have my days, my rest days. I take time for myself. I go out and do something community-based. Like, I like to be around all of it because it gives me all energy from all things.
That's real.
And perspective. Like, whenever I come across my friends, they're like, oh, what are you doing now? And then I tell them, like, dang, you're doing everything. I'm like, no, it's a different aspect of myself. I'm just enhancing. It's a business endeavor I'm trying to master. Like, I look at it as, I'm trying to be multiversal rather than just good at one thing. I want to know everything about everything. That's always how I've been. My mom knows that. My siblings know that. Like, I just want to be versed in everything because there's so much more to the world than just one thing. Like, we're multi-dimensional. Like, a lot of people just, I like this. Like, yeah, but, this art form could be a little bit different, but it's the same thing. But you could get more, of a fan base because people like the art form. They like to see you in the art form. It's like whenever models, like, get into a different, like, era of fashion. I feel like fashion has a lot to do with, like, transformation and the way people want to be perceived. They change their fashion in order for people to view them differently. And that's kind of something I've been in. Like, I love fashion, so I have a friend. He models and he's in New York a lot. And actually, I have a friend here too. His name's Ema, and he models a lot as well. And like, they inspire me, visually, being a photographer and to get in those rooms around people and be versed in different things, especially modeling. Like, all that goes hand in hand with fashion, creativity, creative directing, like all that. So it's like I'm trying to get into that scene so I can know more about that.
Yeah, man, I love that for you, bro. And it's important, and that kind of leads into the second part of pressure, of applying pressure at the same time. And for a lot of people, and when I say applying pressure, it's doing what you were just talking about, understanding who you are and what you're capable of, and putting yourself in those rooms, right?
Exactly.
Applying that pressure and knowing that, not that, man, I think I should be here. More like, nah.
I'm in here.
I'm in here.
The value, knowing the worth of self-value is huge.
Yeah.
And that's something I really had to, like, you're going to have people that don't respect what you do. Don't respect you. Who gives a shit? Like, respectfully, who cares?
And shout out to the homie OG that you know as well, Lewis Fountain. He says that to me all the time, man. I have conversations with him, which is important to have, people in your community that you can reach out to when the pressure may be starting to get to you, and you don't even know it. That can kind of either can bring you back level, or put that battery in your back that you need.
Or a source of perspective.
A source of perspective. And, something that I've struggled with for years, and I'm 41, bro, and I've struggled with it for a long time, is the pressure of being in rooms where I felt like, not only did I feel like they don't think I belong, but I'm struggling with, do I belong in here? And having people say, bro, you've done A, B, C, and D. How dare you think you don't belong in that room? And being like, man, okay. And something I've had to learn is, as I'm starting to kind of put, metaphorically, my foot on the necks of these spaces.
That's a big one.
Yeah, is constantly I have to remind myself what I've been able to do, so that pressure of having to perform when I'm in that room, like I'm not performing for nobody. I'm supposed to be here.
I'm me.
I'm me, right? And I'm gonna talk how I talk. I'm gonna act how I act, and I should be here for whatever reason.
Exactly.
I've had to constantly remind myself. I talk to my therapist about this a lot. My therapist has given me some great game of reminding yourself of who you are, who you've always been, and that's what's so crazy. You know, I can only speak for myself, but thinking of all those times where I've been in spaces and I felt uncomfortable. I've been posting in the back, just
Yeah. That's definitely me.
right? And it's like, why was I doing that? Because I know all these people and they haven't done half the stuff I've done. What am I doing? You know what I'm saying? And constantly reminding myself of that has really allowed me to be free in these spaces.
Identity.
Yeah.
Identity is huge. A lot of people, like, they don't even understand themselves. Like, they don't even know the definition of identity. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and
but that takes you got to really sit down and ask yourself that question. Do you know yourself? That is a hard question when you haven't sat down with
most
yourself.
people haven't asked themselves that. And that's why they stay stuck in their creative jams, like writer's block and stuff like that. You know, I mean, visual artists have it, like photographers have it. Everybody has like writer's block. They understand that, where you feel like you're in a rut creatively. Most of the time that is because you don't know yourself enough, and you need to know more of yourself. That's why the block's happening, because how can you explain aspects of your art if you don't know who you really are? Because your art form is the deepest versions and deepest realms of yourself exploited.
Yeah, and ChatGPT can only give you so much, brother. Look,
AI is not going to fix it.
AI is not going to fix it. It can help you a little bit. It can sprinkle a little bit, but it ain't going to
You
get
need
you
to pay your photographers.
For real.
But no, like, identity is a big thing. A lot of people get lost in themselves. Like, it's easy to do that, especially now with people deal with comparison, and I feel like social media is a big. Social media breaks are important, like, as much as people don't think, because you have a chance to kind of like dive into yourself, and nobody gets to see that. That's the part you have yourself, and you can get more creative with it the deeper you look, because then you get a chance to actually show people who you are and how unique you are and how different. There's no expiration date on that. Like, I feel like a lot of people just getting this, I got to post now. I got to do this. I got to do that. What you got to do is sit the hell down, meditate, and focus on yourself. What do you want? How do you want your reality to look? What kind of goals do you want to envision for yourself? Most people, they can't even sit and do that. They're so caught up in the recent, the now.
Yep.
You know, like that has a lot to do with identity. You got to know yourself. You got to know what you want. And that's the only way you'll be able to create what you actually like.
No, that's so real. That's so real. Man, identity. You know, man, this has been such a dope conversation. I could go ahead. Okay. So I want to go back to identity, because I think it kind of plays a huge role into kind of the original theme of pressure, and and how people are dealing with pressure. Because you touched on something so important. If you don't know yourself and you're constantly chasing the algorithm or what's trending on social, or what social group that you are even a part of, but you like, you know what I mean, all these little things, you're adding more pressure to your shoulders than freedom. But it looks like freedom for some people. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, it looks like, if I post at this time, or if I post this, if I do this dance to this song that's online, oh, I am, oh man, look at people what they think. They like it. They're seeing all these things, and on the surface, it looks like freedom. It looks like, oh, I'm doing all the right things. When all you did is say, oh, this song is getting 1 million views, I'm gonna do dance to that song. But now you're in jail. Now you have
because
to
you
do
box
that.
yourself in.
You box yourself in. Now what comes with that? Now, what if the next trendy dance it don't pop off for you? Now you're pressured. Now you're doing all this other stuff when you didn't want to do that from the beginning.
Or create your own trend. Like
Yo.
that's still a thing. Like,
What happened to that?
Yeah.
What happened to the time where if you did something, I wanted to do something else because you already did it?
Originality.
Yeah, I can appreciate what you did, but I'm gonna do something different.
Exactly. I don't understand what happened to it, honestly, because, like, I feel like that, again, like, that ties back to identity. You don't know yourself. People, like, duplicate. You see people do it all the time. Like, with, it's probably, like, I don't want to say it's a bad reference, but, like Playboi Carti, you know, people like Playboi Carti. I like Playboi Carti. Like, I've listened to him since, like, college. And, like, you know, like, this is seeing the growth, but you always see the people who are just like, oh, like, you can tell their fashion is heavily inspired. Like, you can still do you. You can still, you know, you don't have to completely take the identity of someone else. That person is created already.
Yo, that's so real. That's so
it's
real.
a big thing. I don't know. Like, it's, for me, I'm a original thought type of person. And I can't even fathom how people are out here wanting to be like someone else. You're you. There's only one you. Like, 100%. You can become anybody. You can do anything you want and still be different, even though there's a vast majority of people in the world. I mean, you have people like, people still talk about Tupac. People still talk about Michael Jackson as if they're still here. That's because they chose to be themselves to the fullest extent. They did not change for anybody. Like, that's what made them unique, and that's why they're still iconic today, because they did things differently. And that is, like, originality is, I don't want to say it's dead entirely, but it has, like, lost its meaning. That's something I'm trying to, like, reintroduce with, you know, a lot of my music, and that's I kind of refrained from dropping for a long time, because I'm like, okay, I want to get organized with my promotion. You know, what product am I going to have? You know, how is this going to connect to this? How is this going to connect to that? And, you know, be able to bring me more income so that it can provide stability for me to create more and better projects.
Right.
So, like, that, I don't think a lot of people think on that level, because they're just trying to piece their ideas together. But these are things you have to keep in mind for when you're creating that identity and what you want it to stand for. How solid is your foundation? Like, I mean, perfect person to talk about it is Nipsey. Nipsey Hussle was key at that.
Man.
Like, you know, my cousin actually worked at his dispensary.
Word.
Yeah, like, when it was open on Crenshaw, like, she worked front desk and everything.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, so, like, before all that happened, she was actually going to get me connected with him. But then, you know, like, life got crazy, and then that happened. It was unfortunate, because that, you know, who knows what route that would have took me. But, like, I see everything as, you know, God puts things into places, so maybe it wasn't the right environment, you know. But, like, you know, it's something I always consider, like, you know, timeline's changing, but it's always, like, tied back to identity and your placement. It's all, everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. And, you know, for some people, like, again, myself, I always second guessed, and still do from time to time. I'm going to keep it a buck. I've always second guessed my identity. I've always known who I was. You know what I'm saying? I always known, like, oh, this is how I would like to dress. This is how I like to talk. This is how, this, that, and the third. This is how I want to present myself. But society, that wasn't how it was. Or even when, or like, look, I grew up when Nelly was popping, and I looked like the missing member of the St. Lunatics. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like, look, like all I was missing was the eye patch, my G. That's all I was missing.
No, Nelly's still good. Nelly's still good.
You couldn't tell me. All I was missing was the eye patch. I was there and all that, but I was out here crazy. I'm so glad ain't no pictures of that.
Oh man, those eras are undefeated.
But I had undefeated. But there was a time where I feel like everybody either has to come to, almost like your come to Jesus. I had my come to Jesus of like, oh, this is lame. Like this is not who I am. So I had to get more comfortable, right, with who I was and what my personality was, and it wasn't that. Like, I still loved the music. Like, I was rocking with the music at the time, but that wasn't who I was. And I had to, I think for a lot of people, there are a lot of people right now watching this or listening to this who are riding the wave of the trend, and that's not who they are. What would you say to that person? Like, if that person was in front of you right now, and he, she, or they are dressed just like you, and that is not who they are. They're like, I just like, how he dresses, but what would you say to them to find their identity?
That's a good question.
Yeah, you can marinate on it.
Normally, like, you have those podcasters that be like, oh, well, find yourself. Some thoughtless shit. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'm thoughtful. So, like, you never really know what kind of, like, process someone's going through. They could be going through a really hard time trying to find who they are. Or, like, it seems like effortless. I get that a lot. Like, people are like, you seem like you got it all figured out. You don't even know the half of it. But, like, I would tell that person, really just be graceful of yourself. Like, let inspiration come, and don't be afraid. Like, if you feel like something is niche, like, just pursue it and actually take it serious. Like, see how far you can get taking it serious for a year or 2 years. Like, really focus on it and hyper focus on it and envision yourself in whatever you're trying to do. Like you already have it, because that's how you create it. You're trying to manifest something, like, just like think about it all the time. Write down what you want, the finished product, how you're going to get there, research. These are all things I did before I actually pursued things that I really got into. Music has been something I've always pursued. Like, anybody that knows me knows I've been doing music for a long time. I actually started out producing.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I did EDM and, like, techno stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like, if you know who Dr. Suicide or Mr. Suicide Sheep is, he's a engineer, like, EDM stuff. I helped co-produce some stuff when I was like 13, 14. And, like, I've always been big into it, like, eventually I got my own sound system, worked a lot of jobs, saved up. Like, I knew that was something I wanted to do, so I focused and I invested in myself. And then I learned, and now I'm at this point now where I've done so much building on myself and, like, really focused and invested, that I know the value of everything I'm doing. And when someone asks me, like, say for, like, a service, like, I'm like, oh, this is what this is my rate. This is, you're asking me, like, you build your own portfolio.
Word.
So that goes in, again, like, if I'm giving advice to someone, like, I'm like, figure out what is you first, build value, do things that you would want to do, and then 100%, take it 100% for a year, build, and then come out with your brand, focused, strategized, how you're going to make it to the next level. Because that's what a lot of people, they just think they can start a brand, boom, I'm there. Yep. That's not realistic.
Nope.
It isn't. Like, you see all these things where people, I spent this many years working, building my brand. Now the brand took off because you worked on it. You built the website. You worked on your logo, how you were going to present it, who you were going to present it to, who looks good in it. Like, you know,
Yep,
it's a
100%.
constant, it's a build, it's a reconstruction. Sometimes you got to deconstruct or reconstruct to build it better. Like, you have to be a master builder. Like, that's something my mom always said to me, like, oh, you're a master builder, because, you know, things will fall apart, or, you know, you'll break things down from the bottom, and then you'll build it back up and it'll be 10 times stronger. Like, you know, I know that's a trait I have. So I'm graceful with myself. I take time and I really focus. That focus is everything. Like, if you really want something, you got to focus on it, and it has to be something you want. Like, it's the law of attraction. You got to want it, but you can't want it so much that it creates blockages for you spiritually.
Talk more about that, because that is something where I feel like, you know, I listen to, a part of my morning routine is I listen to a lot of motivational podcasts. It's just clips from speeches that are very motivational, right? And a lot of the themes are grind, keep going, hustle, apply pressure, all of those themes that you would get from a motivational speech, right? But you start applying that information, right? You start getting up early, you start doing all the things to reach your goals. But there's those gaps that aren't getting filled with what you were just talking about. How do you keep that balance? Going back to balance. How do you keep that balance as you're applying pressure, trying to get your dream to pop, and still keep yourself grounded?
Healing.
Okay, say more about healing. Okay.
Healing, because a lot of people don't understand that they're still unhealed in ways. And that is what really creates blockages for you. If you don't allow yourself to heal, feel things, and be a little bit vulnerable with yourself and feel exposed, then there's no way for you to actually grow. You're just going to stay stagnant for the longest time.
Right.
Most of that has to do with, like, your ego and, you know, like, letting things go, like, holding on to things. I'm a big person. I've held on, man, so much, like, just heavy things that you don't even know are, like, creating blockages for you. You got to be open to the changes, and you got to be willing to heal. You got to let yourself heal.
Man, ooh.
You got to let yourself heal.
You got to let yourself heal.
Like that.
We don't let ourselves heal, bro. We don't let ourselves heal.
Especially, and it goes deeper than just, like, now. Like, I feel like it's something that doesn't really get talked about, but generations of hurt, that shit carries down genetically. It carries down spiritually.
It carries down.
And it's heavy.
And to take it even further, sometimes that pain and hurt, that trauma that we're holding on to, that we know we should let go of, we don't, because it feels good to hold on to that pain. It's like it gives you an out. It gives you an excuse.
And that's something, like, I'm big on. Like, I hate saying, oh, I get pissed at myself when I come up with, like, excuses, because I'm like, no, there was no reason for me to even have an excuse. I should have followed through myself. And that's something I've been working on more, which is why the gym is, like, a good replacement, because it lets me, like, it allows me to be like, no, like, you know, I'll be feeling my body's, like, tapped out, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do this set. And in my head, I'm like, the hell are you talking to? You're going to do this last set. I don't care if it hurts. I don't care if you do not the full set. You're going to start this set at least. and that helps me kind of create a strong mindset for, like, being consistent with myself and actually following through.
No, that's dope.
Starting, finishing, that is a big thing. Like, you can't just start something and not finish it. Sometimes it may take a while, but don't give up on it. Give it a break. Then come back to it. Allow yourself to be open, but also allow yourself to focus and be stern on yourself. It's a good balance. Like, it's all the midst of things, you have to have that balance. Is going to take you far. And then you'll start to move. It'll almost feel like everything moves in unison to you. You command everything. It's like a grace. It's like I have some days where I'm like, dang, you know, I planned out my whole day and I got free time. I got like an hour, 2 hours free. Man, I'm about to go to the park, sit out in the sun.
Yeah, man.
That's the nicest thing. And that's the time to yourself. That's the congratulations is because you orchestrated it all well.
Right.
Like a fine oiled machine. Like that's
No,
how
that's
I'm
dope.
moving. Like I have a lot of things I'm putting my hands in and like, you know, delegating, but the end product is people are gonna see the fruits of my labor and they're gonna be like, geez, like he's actually like, you know, we see the physical proof of this man's work.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be, you won't need to say anything. All you'll need to do is just post.
Yep.
And people know what's up.
Yep.
That's really the point I'm getting to.
No, that's real. Well, I want to say, man, before we get out of here, just seeing what you're doing, seeing that I'm as a black man, I'm so proud of you, what you're doing, man.
I appreciate that.
Keep doing what you're doing because we need more positive black men out here just doing work and doing what they do, whatever industry it is in. We need more representation in that area. So, man, I appreciate everything you do, man.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, brother.
Yes. You gotta stay strong out here. It's, you know, as black men and being a minority, you always get looked at as the problem. So it's best to be the solution. Always.
We're gonna end with that, bro. Always. Steven, if you let the people know where they can find you at, man, your work, where can we find you?
So I'm on all platforms. I have a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's SIGHT_lives, LIVES. I do a multitude of other things, but right now the music is the main focus. I post a lot of updates to my page, so check me out. And my links are all posted on all of my page, so you can go check out my music videos and just things I dabble in. Also photography.
Yeah, man. I'll make sure. I'll also make sure I have those links in the description of this episode.
Okay.
Everybody, thank you for listening to Coffee Can't Fix Everything. Like I say every time, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I want you to find the help that you need. So links to support will be also in the link of the description. Coffee can't fix everything, but we're going to break stigma one conversation at a time. I'll holler at you next time.